Hey y'all, here's another episode of Bonafide podcast featuring the one and only Miss Destiny McKleny. Beep, 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 beep,
Hello.
beep. How you doing, girl?
I'm good. How are you?
You know we blessed to be alive. Hello. So let's get started. So Miss Destiny, can you tell us how you got into the sports industry?
Yeah, so I used to play. I grew up playing sports, came from a pretty much sports heavy family. Like my stepdad at the time, he was a football and basketball coach. So whenever I wasn't playing, I was out there with him for like practices and different games. And then his dad also coaches football, and I believe he dabbled and dabbled in basketball. But yes, he coaches a football team in Norfolk, Virginia. He's well known around there. So just always have been close to it growing up. Of course, I played basketball. I started playing basketball in third grade. And then I pretty much played until like high school. Then I just stepped away because I'm short. So I just didn't really have time for like the politics that kind of came with that. So I just focused the rest of my high school just doing track. Of course, that came with its own politics too, with it being individual sport and me being short and doing hurdles. So yeah, that's how I ended my sports career playing, I guess, running track. And I also dabbled and dabbled in like softball as a kid. I cheered, danced. I think that's it. So just always have been around it and just always have been in community with
Girl, I remember but here's the thing. The heart over height now, girl.
That's what I truly believe. But it's kind of hard to communicate that to coaches because at least like in high school, like the high school season, it's pretty short, I guess, compared to like college and like pro, whatever. So like you only have a couple of games. So the focus for these coaches is to win. They don't care about the heart. They just want, I guess, to win and to also, this is just me saying it, but I also feel like they also want that intimidation factor as well. Like I personally know taller women who didn't really have like a basketball or a sports background, but like coaches have like personally went up to them trying to recruit them to be on the team. For one, for the intimidation factor, like I know like personally for me, whenever it was time to play a game and I see how tall these girls are, I'm like, oh, okay. Like I also remember a story when I was playing in a rec league as a kid. I think this was like my first or second year, but we was playing in a game, and I've always just kind of been like that aggressive kind of player. Like you said, it's that heart over that height. So even though I'm 4'11", I didn't play like I was 4'11". So really defensive, really just swimming on the ground, fighting for the ball and whatever. And I remember this one girl, it was their center, and like she was really tall, just kind of like a Shaq in a way. And like I'm running for the ball, and like she grabs the ball while I'm still on it, and she like lifts the ball up, and I'm still on the ball, like I'm off the ground at this point, and she's it was crazy, but yeah, definitely love like fighting and like trying my best, just knowing I'm a little vertically challenged, but I just knew like it was coming to an end soon. So like I did have a delusional moment where I thought like, oh, I'm about to be the female Muggsy Bogues out here. Like, what? But reality hits quick. So
Girl. So my question for you is when it comes to women's sports, how important is representation?
yeah, representation is very important. Like you hear me naming examples of like male players as I'm talking about sports. And I just love that nowadays there's opportunity for that comparison to involve women nowadays. So like talking about short players, like Kim Mulkey, the LSU women's basketball coach, she's even short herself. She's 5'4", and she's won like 2 championships back in college. And I could easily say like, yeah, I'm like Kim Mulkey or like Georgia Amore, she's also short and got drafted. And then, you know, a couple of other like smaller basketball players, Kelsey Plum, she's also on the shorter side. So I just love that like that representation is there for people like me or you or anyone else when they're like visualizing their game, visualizing just basketball in general or sports in general, and you're able to think of women instead of like comparing yourselves to men. And just, I don't know, like I just really love how nowadays that's like right in our face. Like you don't have to dig for it. Like I remember growing up, yeah, WNBA, women's college basketball, and all that. That still was around, but like it was still kind of a niche. Like you had to be in it to know about it. Whereas now it's like you can go to Walmart, Publix, Target, and you see Angel Reese's face in the cereal aisle. Like I don't remember. Like maybe an Olympian would have had that opportunity, like when I was younger. But nowadays, like I just got my A1s today. Like I'm able to cop basketball shoes or shoes in general, or like made by a woman who is doing amazing and doing very well in her sport, and I'm able to contribute towards that. Like I was going crazy with the KDs in middle school, but now I'm like I'm trying to go crazy with Asia's with A1s. Like so, I just think that's beautiful. That we're everywhere now, and I just wish that it was like that for me growing up, especially with like football. Like there's women flag football leagues now. And when I was younger, I wanted to play football. Like I said, I came from like a basketball and football kind of background. So I'm at the practices imitating the drills that my stepdad is doing with his players, literally for 1 year of Halloween. I was a football player for Halloween. I put on some extra equipment he had. And like, of course, it's like, funny. It's Halloween costume, but now like you can make that a reality now. Like there's high schools with flag football teams for women now. And I'm like, where was that when I was in high school? Like I graduated high school in 2018. So like yeah, it's kind of been some time, but it's not like that far removed from where we are now. And it's like, dang, like if only we had that in high school, like maybe I wouldn't have played basketball. Maybe I wouldn't have ran track. I would have been a flag football player. So I just love that we have that now.
For sure. And I remember you are part of the Alpha Kappa Alpha. Yeah, Alpha Kappa Alpha. I remember you're part of that. And, you know, to see like, you mentioned A1s, which is Asia Wilson, who is also an AKA. What's it like to see, the D9 sororities, be so relevant and representative through like women in sports? Like, what's it like to see, like, say, the sisterhood of the D9 or the fraternity, but for D9 for sororities, what's it like to see like the women's sports of the D9, you know, just be part of the sports world?
Yes, it's very important for our representation, for as being a member of the Alpha Kappa Sorority Incorporated. That is just very important to see us being represented in sports like that, because of course, like I feel like when you think of like members of D9 sororities, you're not your first or second or third thought is not sports. Like you're not thinking about athletes. You're thinking about like educators, doctors, people working in the government. Like we are deep in those kind of prestigious careers, but we also represent in sports too, like you said, with Asia. And then I believe like there was just a basketball player, I can't remember his name, got drafted to the wing, and she's a member of um, Sigma Gamma Rho. And I believe I want to say Brian Howard also, I want to say Zeta. But
Ryan Howard's part of Zeta Phi Beta.
yes, so that's what I thought. And like I just love that, like, for one, we're there. There's D9 members like within the WNBA and other sports, but like they're also able to represent it. Like I've seen different videos of them just strolling for like Founders Day or just things like that. So Yeah, it's nice. It's just cool being able to like just go on the official AKA Instagram page and see they posted Asia. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's my girl. That's my girl. So, you know, you could do anything. Like if you're a D9, you can really do anything. So love it.
For sure. And, my question for you is, when it comes to athletes and their mental health, how important is an athlete's mental health?
I would say an athlete's mental health is very important, but I also just think it's very important in general. I mentioned my stepdad in the beginning a little bit, and he actually uh, died from suicide. So I'm very like a strong proponent for mental health because I know we talk about like mental health for men and like trying to create environments for them to feel comfortable, for them to, I guess, for one to feel represented. Like we don't really like. I feel like nowadays we have those kind of conversations about like black men feeling comfortable to talk about those topics, but in regards to like athletes, I think it was like Joel Embiid, like he was speaking on like his mental health, just dealing with his injuries, and of course like the backlash from being away from the sport. And I just really respected him for that because I've never been like seriously injured due to a sport that I played, but I just can't imagine like for one being drafted in a hospital bed and then like your whole career is dealing with injuries. Of course, like Philly is a large fan base for like basketball and football, and I just can't imagine like being a star athlete in your city and then like you really do want to win. Like you want to win your MVP. You want to get your ring. You want to bring the city back somehow, and you keep being stifled by injuries. So, you know, shout out to him. And I believe who else? I want to say it was DeRozan.
Yeah,
Like he spoke on it before. So yeah, it's very important. I know, like at least like for pro athletes, pro athletes, it's easy for people to not see you as people. Sports is already, in a way, commodifying your body in a way. So people are just kind of seeing athletes as products and taking away that human aspect from it. And it's just even with sports betting. I don't know if you've seen like the commercials during like NCAA playoffs and finals and whatever. And like they had to make commercials to stop bullying athletes because of a bet you put in. And I think that's crazy. Like, why do you need a commercial to tell you to athletes like humans. Like people really don't understand. Like for one, they have their own issues going on, whether it's management, injuries, personal relationships, family problems. And now you have people on the internet bullying them because of a $10 play or whatever they put in. Like, I just think that's crazy. And I just think that, you know, we should humanize people more. We should accept people as humans first before we take into consideration the other variables they have going on. So yeah, I just think we really just need to hone in on that.
for sure. Because I always say athletes are human first, and I literally have that. Like I always say that, and I always like. I even put it on the merch for the podcast that athletes are human first, and I literally also explained it on the Athletes Advocate broadcast channel on Instagram that I created for you know. And I feel like a safe space is so needed for the athletes because um, I don't know if you remember hearing about the LSU football player who was going to go to the pro. Like to me, like also not to mention like the thing that he supposedly got in trouble with. Like he wasn't even the one that caused it,
Mhm.
but yet like it took a whole toll on his mental health. And I think for me, like you know, just to see, like for me, to see that and for people to really take in tone like how important mental health is for the athletes, like it's just so crazy. Like you said, people bet on these athletes and then they get mad when they like don't do well, and then some of them be like emailing them like, hey, you better not mess up my draft or mess up my uh season on fantasy football or basketball. I'm like, God dang, like, why do y'all get to the point like, you know, they are human first, and I wish people would understand that, like, for real.
Yeah, that was definitely such a sad situation. But I was following that, I guess, from the beginning, and like I think like that whole thing went down like the same week of the draft or something like that. And people were saying like he just had to wait one more day, and it's just crazy because like when you're in a dark place like that, like especially like if you committed a crime and like someone else, kind of died from the type of situation that you were involved in, that's a lot of pressure. Like RIP to him. I know he would have had an amazing NFL career, but yeah, that was definitely sad that he had to deal with the legal aspect of the situation. But then you have these people, especially like with the political climate now, you have people that probably don't even really care about what you did. They just want a reason to bully you. And I just think that's crazy. And I also know like for I know like Brandon Miller, he's another person that got involved with some like legal issues and it's still ongoing. Like I thought it was over, but got like an ESPN notification I think about it recently. And like thankfully he was able to keep, his mental in check and still show up and play basketball and help the Hornets out. But it's just crazy how like, you're in the spotlight because of this sport. But then when the jersey come on, you take those LeBrons off, you put on your regular clothes, you look you're just a person at that point. And it's like, yeah, of course like accountability is important if like you're representing, of course, like the team that you play for, you're representing this brand or your own personal brand. And yes, it's important to understand that you are expected to align yourself with, environments that are healthy for you, environments that won't kill your brand or impact you and prevent you from being able to show up and play the sport that you love. But yeah, it's definitely important to put yourself first in those kind of situations. Make sure, like, there's no basketball being played, there's no football being played if you're not okay. So it's just, especially for athletes, they're just part of like, of course, you're playing the sport that you love, but you're also part of the business now too. So, I know, like for me, I work and that stresses me from the work that I do. So I can't imagine like being an athlete, you're playing a sport that you love, but you also are basically an employee to this large corporation. So like there's a lot of pressure coming with those expectations putting on you. And then like these athletes are young. Like they're barely 20. Like they're very early 20s. And like basketball with the one and dones, they're not even 20 yet, like maybe 19, 18. It's like these athletes don't really know any better yet. Like the frontal lobe isn't fully developed yet. So I just feel like we place so much expectations on kids. Like, like hopefully they'll figure it out like when they're older and stuff and more mature. But it's just crazy. Like, you know, all that pressure and expectations that the athletes are facing daily. Like, I know I can never understand it, but it's definitely crazy.
Yeah, girl, like, it's because, you know, I remember like when the whole situation, I don't know if you remember this, where like people were criticizing Angel Reese for, doing the thing, and then she admitted after like her last game, she admitted like, during that time, even after the championship, like she received death threats and hatred notes and everything. And then also it led to like say some of the players, every player that like last season, like the WNBA players that played against like say Caitlin Clark, you know, the her Caitlin Clark's like fan base called You know, I mean, kudos to Caitlin Clark. Her game is amazing and stuff,
Mhm.
but you have a fan base that literally talk trash, say some racist, sexist, misogynistic things to the opponents, and even say that person's teammates. Like it crosses the line to the point like it takes a toll on a lot of people's mental health. Like even when it's just like to me it's like why do you feel the need to bash on someone to make sure your favorite player is uplifted? Like it doesn't it doesn't like make it look good. And I think one of the things like, what I really kind of respect about Paige Beckers too. I don't know if you've seen the SB the what's it called, her SB speech about how you know, she wanted the light to be shined on more black women in sports and athletes because, especially the female ones, because, you know, yes, she knows she has like the privilege and stuff, but like she wants, she plays a sport where it's predominantly black people, and she wants like those, the black athletes, the black female athletes that's in her sport to get more shine and spotlight. And I think that was super amazing for her to say. Not to mention she was a teenager coming in like to for her to say that. Like, a lot of people like, what? I'm like, you know, you gotta put some respect on the people that, you know, just like give people their flowers and stuff. And I thought that was super dope.
It definitely was dope. I love Paige, love youth basketball, love Coach Gino. And yeah, like she's definitely a real one for that. And I love Caitlin Clark too. Like undeniably talented. She's going to have an amazing career. And I do believe that there definitely was opportunity for her to speak up, given the time. Like when she got drafted, like it was just a lot of chaos on social media, especially coming off of a season where Asia was doing her big one, and like no one really trying to give Asia her flowers just for the same season where Caitlin Clark is active in the WNBA. Asia's still doing her big one. Still give her flowers. But yeah, I also just think that they turned the whole Caitlin Clark situation into like Nicki Minaj or whatever reason. But I can understand like Angel Reese being, I guess, more extroverted and more um, open with like her playfulness, just everything. She was able to create a whole brand for herself and get all of these like NIL deals and partnerships and whatnot because of the way that she positions herself in the spotlight. I feel like someone like Angel Reese is someone that you would want to represent women's basketball or whatever. And like that take away from Caitlin Clark being the star she is because she's a star. But I also think people don't take into consideration people's personality. And I get the vibe that Caitlin Clark is. So I don't think Caitlin Clark wants to necessarily have like this big podcast for herself, this big kind of thing going for herself. I think Caitlin Clark, yes, she wants deals. She wants that money. Like, who doesn't want the money that comes from being a star in the WNBA? But just because Caitlin Clark is, I guess, more, I don't want to say she's more passive with it because if you watch her game, she's also doing what Kate, or she's also doing what Angel Reese does. Caitlin Clark isn't just this silent, reserved, I'm too cool kind of player. She's talking her stuff too. But I think outside of like basketball, I think that's the main thing that people bring up is like, oh well, Caitlin Clark's in the gym, Angel Reese. Why is she at the Met Gala? Why is she at this award show? This has nothing to do with basketball. But it's like Caitlin Clark doesn't want to do those things. And I think just because Angel Reese is doing those things, I don't think that means that the media is trying to position herself as like the better player over Caitlin Clark because she's getting invitation. And I also think that's what's fueling it too, is because like you get online, you see Angel Reese, you see what Angel Reese just did, this new deal she just signed, this new award show that she's at, this just new whatever, and you don't really see that for Caitlin Clark. But I think that's because Caitlin Clark, I don't think she would be interested. and those things. Like, I think Caitlin Clark would love to go to the Met Gala, but like, can you really imagine her, I guess, enjoying and taking in the Met Gala in the same way that Angel Reese is able to? So I don't know. I just think it's petty. I think people that like Angel Reese also do like Caitlin Clark, but I think that Caitlin Clark fans are just toxic fans in general. I don't want to make this only happens in women's sports, because no, like, it's happening with the men too. You get on Twitter, say something bad about LeBron, say something like they're coming after you, like. So I just think that people should like just, I don't know, let Angel Reese shine, let her be the star that she is, let Caitlin Clark be the star that she is, and them being stars, genuinely being themselves, is what's going to help grow the brand, grow the WNBA. Like, we need these stars to have exposure, to be in these different rooms or whatever. But it's just making it hard for that to be. I don't think the hate is really like stopping anything, but it's making it hard for it to be like an enjoyable experience for the athletes, when they have to watch out for these things. They have to, you know, protect themselves. Like, Angel Reese just turned 23. Like, she's still a baby. Like, I just can't imagine, especially being her. Like, you know, you did what you need to do in the basketball world, so you're reaping the rewards for being great at that, but also being invited to do these other things as well as a 23-year-old, but like definitely as a 22-year-old, as a 21-year-old. And it's just crazy that like she has to understand how to keep her mental health in check, how to make sure that, her home is good before she starts going out doing these other things, because someone say something negative just because another player exists, just because won the game that mattered. So it's just crazy.
Yeah, so, but my question for you is how would you describe your journey so far?
My journey so far, I would definitely say my journey first started off as being curious. So I just have like a minute of me being like maybe in kindergarten or first grade or something, just in TV. But one, I used to always like play with the boys. Like, I used to run around, like try to keep up with them whenever we had to like run around, keep up with them. I remember one day just like shooting a basketball. Like, I think that was like my first like time to like actually have a relationship with like basketball. But then, of course, like through childhood, I became like an athlete myself. And then when I graduated high school, and then playing college or anything like that, and that's when I started to become more of like a fan. And I think now I'm in a place of like discovery where it's like I know I still want to be in this community, in these environments. It's still amazing when I go to basketball games or when I'm volunteering at different athletic events or whatever. So it's like I do want to stay around it. I'm just trying to figure out what that looks like, because everybody can't be Michael Jordan. Everybody can't be Ava Wilson. Somebody has to be Spike Lee. So I'm like, maybe I'm supposed to be Spike Lee. So I'm just figuring out, like, okay, Spike Lee has a film. What do I have? I know I used to want to be on ESPN as a kid, but then also like, let's go to the pros. Like, the pros are finished. Then I go to ESPN. I'm like, oh, that messed up that plan. I'm not. I could go pro, but it's not going to be through basketball. Like, you know, just being realistic about that. So I know, like, thank God we live. It's like 2025. We're in this era where like social media and content is everywhere. You can do anything. So, like, okay, I can go back to that journey and maybe do something with like journalism and like analyzing games or something like that. But I know, like, I met you through the program where I was taking photos. So that was my first. Okay, let me try. I already have like the camera. Like, it's not the best camera for this opportunity, but let's try and see what happens. So I did that, and then now, I'm just trying to figure out, like, okay, if it's not going to be the camera, if it's not doing photos, what is it? Maybe I could be on the business side. maybe it is something more, in someone's face, doing commentary or you know, so I'm just
Girl, all I know is during the program, I was like, because I remember what's it called during the introduction. I was like, so yeah, I was like, my name is Des, and I do have a podcast and all this stuff. Next thing I know, I was like, you're like coming in, you're like, hey, you really do have a podcast? I was like, yeah. I was like, we got a meet, and I was like, yeah, I'm cool with that. So next thing I know, like first day of the pro-am, like everything, I was like, dang, we stuck like glue. Like I'm over here doing the media replay, media cap recap, and then you over here coming with the pictures. I was like, go ahead, girl. And I was like, we just gonna be have fun with it. We go on Instagram, like just have fun with it, just like, we just and I was like, dang, like, okay. And then there be days I'm like, dang, why she ain't here with my little partner in crime? I know she not little, but like, come on, where? So I was like, you know what? And I remember like it was crazy. I didn't realize you were a Kentucky fan.
oh
And I
yeah.
was like, the one time that I was like, the
I,
one time that Rob Dillingham, I ain't gonna lie, I didn't know who I heard of the name, but I didn't know what he looked like. So people like, that's Rob Dillingham. I was like, I heard the name, but didn't know what he looked like. And I remember you like, why didn't nobody tell me about that?
Nobody tell me. Like I feel like everyone, if anyone had a conversation with me at the program, they knew I love me some Kentucky. And people that like I really talk sports with that know me, they know I love me some Rob Dillingham. Like I said, I'm
You were so like, why did I miss this day?
that day, like literally, like, cause I did meet Rob. I met Rob after the State Farm Classic in like what was it, 2023? When they played against UNC, I went to Atlanta to see that game. And literally when I was leaving, I just so happened to park my car right next to where the like their bus is. So I'm walking out and I see the bus and I see what color it is. Like I know what Kentucky blue look like. So I called my cousin. I'm like, cousin, so I see this bus right here, but like I'm about to go. But like, do you think I should go back and like wait? Cause it was like there was a little bit of people, like some fans, like waiting to see whatever. I didn't truly believe that I was gonna be able to like see something. I'm thinking like, oh, maybe they're gonna tell us to go away, whatever. Like, but I'm still like, okay, my car is right here. Like, I can see my car. So if all falls, I know I can just go or whatever. So I'm like, okay, let's just wait a little bit. So some players start walking out. I think first it's like, I think it's like some of the assistant coaches and helpers walking out first. I seen Tyler Eulis. I used to love some Tyler Eulis too. Like I just love like undersized guards. Like I just root my hardest for them to make it because like yeah, they're like 6 feet, 5'8", 5'9", 5'10". I'm 4'11" or whatever. So I understand like the challenges of, you know, being like short and like they're not like really short, but they're like short compared to like NBA players or whatever. So ended up seeing Rob and I'm like, oh my god, like can we get a picture? Took a picture with him. So I have a selfie with Rob Dillingham and I have a selfie with Coach Cal as well. So I was definitely hurt when he came to the program and I'm like, oh my god, like yeah, I already met him, but like I want to see him play like live too and like the pro-am special privileges. So like, I don't know. Well, maybe I could have got like another picture. Maybe I would have got like good pictures of him since I had like my real camera or whatever. And maybe I could have redid my selfie or whatever. And I'm like, wow, like I really missed out on Rob Dillingham.
He
Like, no,
may come back. I'm just saying he may come back at the
come back.
I mean, he may come back, but if he do, I'm like, hey, Destiny.
Rob Dillingham, this.
I'm like, if he do come, I'm like, hey, Destiny, yeah, uh, yeah, Rob Dillingham is here. Are you trying to slide by and go? Like,
Okay.
here was the thing. Like, here's the thing. Like, I've never seen a player have bodyguards, and this man had bodyguards. Like, yes, people were like, I think it was, mind you, I was like, okay, like he had the whole like you know how like in the back the jerseys and stuff, like he had the whole room to himself, like where he could change the stuff. So like, and it was like, yo, okay, so mind you, I'm like not paying it. Like to me, I'm like I'm paying attention to the game. I mean, and like people need to remember he's human first. Like he's human. And I'm so glad you mentioned about Tyler Eulis because I remember Tyler Eulis's game. Like I remember watching him at Kentucky. Like the man was undersized, yeah, he was short, but I think for
Oh,
me, when it comes to like the shorter point guards to me, like they their game, like they know how to. I know a lot of people like, well, they're short, like it's gonna be hard. Well, they know how to utilize the game. Okay, they know how to utilize their size to where it can be hard for the other team to work the game plan around them. That's the point. Like where but Muggsy Bogues, like he utilized his height to like maneuver a lot of people's game, like where oh it's gonna be hard for him, like and Allen Iverson, he was considered short, like he utilized his game. Isaiah Thomas, from the when he played at the Celtics, like yeah, people like yeah he's short, but the man was like literally good, like you know, and
right.
so I'm like it. I don't know, like for me, I mean, I'm not a Kentucky person, but if there's certain Kentucky players I kind of like that came from Kentucky that I really respect. So like, I like De'Aaron Fox. Like, I love his relationship with his wife. Like, it is so adorable to me. Like, I don't know if you heard, but so his wife played basketball, college basketball too. So the fact that she was also helping with the Sacramento Kings, like workouts and stuff, and he was part of the Kings,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, this is so cute. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, this is so cute. Like, how can you not? Like, I think their love story is just adorable. It's like,
Yeah.
so, and they both were at they're both playing. It's crazy how they both played at the McDonald's All American games. And I think, yeah, they've known each other for the longest time. I'm like, oh, well, this is cute. Okay.
Love little relationship or when it's like an athlete and like someone else that was an athlete, like they met in college or whatever, like even high school, they really got it. And then like, one goes pro or both go pro. Like we see Asia and Bam. Like I just love little stories like that.
Oh yeah, and Bambi wearing his girl shoes too. I was like,
He part of the team. Somebody made a little release, a media release saying that the Aces picked him up, but it's no picture yet because he wasn't at media day. That's what they say. Because he said he always around. He part of the team at this point. He had a picture with Jackie, I think.
I, it's just I that they are cute together. I think the crazy thing is like I think that's like the Carolina love. Not I don't mean like UNC love. I mean like he's from
Carolina.
North Carolina and she's from South Carolina. It's like the Carolina love almost.
It's SEC love too, because he went to Kentucky, and Asia she went to South Carolina. It's SEC.
It is a SEC love. Okay, yeah, I see it. So
They both great programs, so you know.
you know what? I ain't gonna lie. There was another reason I would say like last year I rooted for Kentucky, but for the women's team.
Okay.
Shout out to Deja D Law. Shout out to D Law. So
Asia cool.
I was like, I ain't gonna lie, when I saw she transferred from UNC Charlotte to Kentucky because I worked with her at the pro. I met her. I was like, she's so dope. But when I saw her move to Kentucky, I was like, you know what? Bet on yourself, girl. And she dominated too. So I was like, go, girl. I'm here for it. So
But I graduated from UNC Charlotte, so that's how I met her initially. I met her. I think I actually met her like at a pool. It was at a pool party, but like she wasn't part of the party. It was just the fact that the pool party was where she lived at. So I had met up with one of her friends, and then she had came down. I'm like, oh, like she's on the basketball team. So I said hey or whatever. But yeah, just seeing her able to utilize her platform at UNC Charlotte to go to an SEC big name school P5. Like I love that. Like just knowing that she's from Charlotte. I believe she went to Mallet Creek High School. You know, that's local. That's up the street. So I loved her. Seen some of her games. Definitely wishing her success with her journey. You know, that's a dog right there.
D-Law, if you hear this, you need to come on the podcast, please. Just come on. Come on. So, shout out to you, girl. So, my question for you is so Bonafide means authentic and unique. So, what makes Miss Destiny McKleny Bonafide and what makes your story stand out?
I guess my story. I guess honestly, it's the whole heart over height thing. Like I love basketball. Like I tell people all the time, if I was like 6, I'll be in the WNBA right now, no doubt about it. So I feel like that kind of makes my story unique in a way because, for one, I just feel like I've always operated in a place of placing my heart over my height. So whenever it comes to me playing a sport, I for some reason just chose the sport or the event that was disadvantageous to me because I'm short. Like, why am I doing hurdles? I don't know, but it was fun. So I definitely think it's, putting my heart over height or just operating from the heart, period. I love showing up in authentic ways. I love being intentional about the things I do, and I love being passionate about the things that, I do and enjoy or whatever. So, just showing up that, like, here's my heart first, my height second, but I know that my height definitely does carry some type of brand or some type of something with me. Like even when I would play basketball, I was playing in a boys' league once, and like I already stand out because I'm the only girl, but I'm also standing out because like I'm a short girl. So it's just cool for like different parents from like opposing teams. Like they're giving me my flowers at the end of the game. I'm like, wow, like you're actually good, or you played well. Obviously, recognizing that I'm short or whatever. So yeah, it's just you're gonna see the heart first, but then it's gonna click for you. You're gonna like,
Girl, you better recognize, you better let them know what it is. So, yeah. So, can you let the viewers know how and where they can find and support you if there's any upcoming events happening for you?
yeah. So my main Instagram page is at Dez, so DEZ, because the S was taken, and then a period, and then tiny, short, that's my name, and then number 3 at the end because 3. That was just like my go-to basketball number, my favorite number, and I love Allen Iverson, so a little shout out to him as well. That's where you can find me if you want to see, what's next for this female Spike Lee. We gonna see.
I know that's right. So, but thank you guys for tuning in to Bonafide Her Podcast, episode 132. And big shout out to the queen herself, Miss Destiny, for coming on the podcast to share her story. You guys can check out the live replay of Bonafide Her Podcast, episode 132, featuring Destiny McKleny after this. Thank you guys for tuning in. Peace.